Hello there, crafters. Today we are focusing on 2 Samuel chapter 7, where God promises David that even though he won't be the one to make God a fancy house, there will still be wonderful promises to be fulfilled for David and for his line. So we're going to make a couple of crafts today that have to do with this story and with the concept of waiting and trusting in God's timing. So craft number 1 is going to be a versatile paper chain. So we're going to start with a simple paper chain, but I'll explain a couple of different things that we can do with this. So we're going to start off with several pieces of paper, and I am going to just cut some strips about a couple inches wide-ish, give or take a millimeter or so. And you can do as many of these as you like, and I'll explain a few uses for this. Of course, it's a simple craft. We've all made paper chains, but they're good for more than just counting down the days. So we are going to write on these strips, and we're going to put a few various things here. So we're going to sort of write an explanation, description of what this is all about, and then we'll put them all together. So we might say something like, wait on God. Just kind of line these up here. His timing is perfect. And then we can make some additional notes here. Trust in the Lord, and we'll say something like, God provides all we need. And then I can make a mention of the passage that we're looking at here. It's from 2 Samuel 7. And as you can see, the more paper strips you have, the longer you need to have writing for. Of course, you don't have to write something on every single page, but God keeps his promises. And now we're going to put the paper chain together. Now, as we are stapling this, I'll mention a few things that we can do with this. So, make sure I do it in the right order. If you like, you can do this for a memory verse as well. This is a great way to memorize a passage because you can put a few words or a phrase on each strip and sort of describe and speak it as you go to remember the verse. Or, let's see. There we go, getting out of order. Or you can use this, as we often do. You can use a paper chain to count down the days while waiting for something. Of course, you know, things like, we use these a lot of times at Christmas, or maybe a birthday, or something that you're really looking forward to happening. And that's a fun way to practice patterns and counting for little ones. Also, though, to go along with the fact that David was the king and had many blessings from God, you could turn this paper chain into a crown of sorts, or a necklace even, or some other type of jewelry-ish piece. So lots of possibilities here. Or it can just be a fun hanging decoration to remember the story. So we'll just say that last step is for you to write your name, since I ran out of words. But again, to demonstrate, we have our lovely paper chain. It can be our waiting chain, since we're talking about waiting. It can be a good way to review what we're talking about here. Wait on God. His timing is perfect. Trust in the Lord. God provides all we need. 2 Samuel 7. God keeps his promises. Or it can be a way to remember a verse or passage, or a fun necklace, or a cool crown. So, lots of fun ways to use your paper chain. Now, craft number 2, we're going to make a little clock, and this is to, again, remember that we can wait on God and remember that his timing is always perfect. So, I'm trying to figure out why that's better. My apologies. The world was slanted, but now it's right again because God makes all things new. So, anyways, our clock. We are going to start with a paper plate as my clock backdrop, and you can use either side of your plate or both. It just so happens that my plate has a shinier side here, and it's harder to write on that. So I'm going to actually write on this side of my paper plate, and we're going to make this like a clock. I'm going to use some paper to make a hour hand and a minute hand. So I'm going to cut off, I'm going to make a couple of arrows here and attach those to my plate. Well, I'll attach them eventually. I'm getting ahead of myself here because I also need to decorate my plate. And the arrows will actually go on last, but we're just getting prepared here. So I've got my arrows. I'm going to make one shorter than the other to show that one of these is, actually it's a little too long for both of them. There we go. One of them is hour, one of the minute. You don't have to do it that way because it's not really a clock, but you get the idea. So here we're going to save those for a moment, and we're going to add some notes in here. So I'm going to say, wait on the Lord. His timing is perfect. And then in here I might write some things that we can do while we're waiting on God. So we can pray, read the Bible, talk to friends, maybe go to church, do kind things. That's a bit generic, but you get the idea. So now we're going to add a few more decorations here. I've got some stickers to throw on, and then we'll add my little clock cans. And the idea, which you don't have to do necessarily, but the idea is that you can use these clock cans to sort of go to different things and say, oh, here's some things that I can do if I'm getting impatient of waiting on God and his timing. So we will do one more sticker here. There we go. So I'm going to punch a little hole, poke a hole in the center of my plate here for my fastener to go through. There we go. And now I will poke through my hour and minute hand. Poke it through on there. That's a rather long hand, isn't it? Why don't we make that just a little bit shorter? Now they're almost the same length, but you get the idea. So now we've got lovely clock and ways to think about how we can wait on God. So wait on the Lord. His timing is perfect. And then we can move the hands around to consider different things that we can do, different ways that we can use our time wisely as we wait on God and trust in his timing. Now, if you like, you can add a hanger to this, make it something you can hang on the wall, or maybe a magnet, stick it on the fridge, or just have it like this. It can be a centerpiece, or just something to carry around and hold as a clock. But great way, I forgot our verse. Let me throw that on there. Great way to remember the story and to remember that God has plans for us and we can always trust his timing. So, a couple of crafts to consider as you're going through this passage and looking at the life of King David. Now, as always, take it, make it your own, use it however you like. Hopefully, it can be a blessing to you and your ministry, wherever and with whomever that might be. Now, go make some crafts, make some disciples, have a wonderful week, and we will see you next time.